go back to video. I also find it extremely interesting that being brought up in Chabad, Shmuel Zaidi is one of the big heroes. And then you go to Breslov, and it's the exact opposite. I was like in this interesting quagmire. I didn't know what to do.
Well, you can imagine, I mean, the Rebbe, at the time when the Machlokes broke out, he was 28 years old. The Shmuel Zaidi was the oldest living chassid of the Baal Shem Tov himself. So he had enormous, he was the last surviving one who had sat at the table of Baal Shem Tov and seen him. And from what I understand, the Shmuel Zaidi had a very considerable gevura. His derech was very much a derech of gevura. And the Rebbe is like on a totally different dimension. But here was this young Rebbe who was a great-grandson of Baal Shem Tov, who was charismatically, magnetically drawing people. And I've not seen any of the real literature. The rest of the Hasidim really suppressed whatever they knew about the Machlokes. And I've never seen anything in print about the Machlokes, but I would imagine that the accusations against the Rebbe that he was a Moshiach Sheker. And I'm going to be talking tonight about it's clear from the Rebbe's writings, and I told you, we spoke about the time when the Rebbe said Kekoin Ano. When was that? That was the Malach HaMalchut, I think. It was the Malach HaMalchut. We spoke about how the Rebbe says, when Reb Nassim says, well, maybe Moshiach could be here, right, and we didn't know it. So the Rebbe says, like me, he was quoting from, it's a Gemara, where Reb Nachman the Gemara says, Kegoin Ano.
Right.
So Reb Nachman said, Kegoin Ano. Well, like me. Well, that's, he obviously saw himself as a big neshama of Mashiach.
Doesn't that same Gemara say that every student should say his teacher is Mashiach? It was a big thing in Chabad for many years, where they said, the Gemara, right? Okay.
So I would imagine that the coming after the whole explosion of Shabtai Tzvi in the 1600s, and then in Poland and Russia, Ukraine, I mean, the Baal Shem Tov have been fighting the Frankists, who were a revival of Shabtai Tzvi. So the whole atmosphere was very, very nervous. They had Jonathan Eibeshitz have been accused of being shot. So I would imagine what that was going on, and it was very fierce. I mean, the Shmuel Zaidi wanted to put Reb Nachman into Cherem, and he would have done it had it not been for the Rabbi Levi Yisrael of Berdichev, who got up and said, I do not want any Cherem in my town. So otherwise they would have done it, and that would have been horrendous. But the Balatanya stood up for Reb Nachman, and Rabbi Levi Yisrael Berdichev, the Rebbe always spoke in the highest terms of Rabbi Levi Yisrael Berdichev.
Levi Yitzchak and the Alter Rebbe were really close.
Also, the Rabbi Nachman married the Mechatonim with the Balatanya.
Because the whole attempt by the Shmuel Zaidi to put the Rebbe into Cherem took place in Berdichev. This was in the early 1800s, where there was a meeting of all of the Hasidic leaders in Berdichev to basically discuss not Reb Nachman, but to discuss the new decrees that the Russian government had brought out against the Jews of Russia. Get them into the army, subject them to secular education, make them change their clothes, make them cut off their pious, cut off their beards, learn the languages of Russian, French, German. It was a very serious cultural war against the Jews, and while they were all there, the Shmuel Zaidi said, and let's also put Reb Nachman into Cherem in the meantime. Wow. So the very guy who was actually on the spiritual level fighting to sweeten all these decrees, he wanted to put him into Cherem. But they didn't, and nobody today knows anything about the Shmuel Zaidi, and Reb Nachman was on everybody's lips.
And Rabbi Nachman said about Shmuel Zaidi that he might be that one himself.
He said he was very surprised that the Baal Dover chose him to be his representative.
But there's a whole Rabbi Nachman Torah, or look at the Maharan Torah, that says that the Hashem sends these things to protect the tzaddik.
Because the light of the tzaddik is so great that unless it is somewhat dimmed, it could not stand, the world couldn't stand it. And therefore there's all this opposition to the tzaddik, so that people will still be left with free choice. If you just saw everybody screaming to the tzaddik, there'd be no free will. So here, that guy, who is he? Like, I once heard from a Rav who was a Rav in one of the leading synagogues of England. Had been there were rumors that he was having an affair with one of the wives of the convent. It was a big scandal, and I'm convinced that he was completely innocent. The time when it broke up, he told me that his mother had once said to him, in the old days, the people used to bring the animals to the Rav to ask if the animal is kosher or treif. But now, the animals come and ask if the Rav is kosher or treif.
Wow. So you did Sohar. What happened after Sohar? Aryeh. Yeah. And then Rabbi Nachman's Tikkun.
Right. And then the life of the Breslov Chosed.
Right. And what you did Tzaddik.
Tzaddik. The Likutei Tefillah. 50th Gate, volumes 1 and 2.
That was you?
Of Reb Nosson.
That was you? That was you?
That was me.
You did that, okay.
Yeah.
What about Reb Nosson's letters?
No, that was done by Yaakov.
You did Reb Nosson's Tefillah?
Yeah.
The pink one and the purple one, they were really nice.
A wonderful sefer.
Okay, so then after
there was Rabbi Nachman, there was Tefillin.
Right.
Reb Nosson's discourse on Tefillin from
beautiful.
the
So beautiful.
And then there was Rabbi Nachman and Suffering. Rabbi Nachman and Suffering.
Garden of the Soul. Garden of the Soul, right?
I don't know if you've left any in.
Can I touch you? Can I touch you a little bit?
No.
These books like in my brain. Wow. Touch you.
Baruch Hashem, it's all the merit of the Rebbe. It's
Touching
nothing but the
Rabbi
Rebbe.
Nachman.
The Rebbe says in the Aleph Beis book that we are all simply a pen in the hand of the tzaddik, each one doing what he's doing is a pen in the hand of the tzaddik. We're all following out a course that we embrace, but it's already been forged out for us, and we just have to find it and follow it.
What about through Fire and Water? You didn't want to do that?
I was the ghostwriter of Fire and Water.
What does that mean?
Chaim prepared all the notes, and I wrote it in English.
So why is his name? Is there an author on that book?
It does say edited by Avraham Greenbaum.
That book is overwhelming. That book had almost a bigger effect on me than almost every book I ever read.
It's the real, you really see out of Reb Nosson what Reb Nosson is all about, don't you?
So I wanted to say that Reb Nosson, who wrote the Megillat Setarim, to write the code, they did, you have to be genius that nobody could figure out, using software to figure it out.
To write the code, well, no, because Hebrew intrinsically, everyone knows that you use Rosh Tevis.
Right.
So Rosh Tevis is a stand and Ramazim. If you know the right Ramazim, I've never looked in this manuscript deeply, but it's not a big deal in Hebrew to put stuff in code. I mean, the whole, especially the Talmud Chacham, because the whole Torah is all codes anyway. I mean,
no, but it's written out. It's written out. It's written out, even though it's coded. But I'm saying
it is, but it's not. I mean, once you get into Asbash and Albam and all these ciphers, you know, a good part of the Kabbalah is precisely about code. That's what it is. It's about encrypted messages.
I don't want to wear you out. Maybe just take a little break.
Are we going to go...
Yeah, we'll go inside.